Dragon Ball Shenron no Nazo, or Mystery of Shenron, is generally considered to be the worst Dragon Ball game. A genuine achievement considering how bad most Dragon Ball games are. I rank it among the worst games on the Famicom. Despite that, solely based on the game's license, this game sold 1.25 million copies and was the 26th best-selling Famicom game. I think this game more than anything cements Bandai's position as the LJN of Japan. If you're watching a series about obscure Japanese video games, you probably don't need an introduction to Dragon Ball. But just in case, the comic and cartoon tell the story of the pirate Monkey D. Luffy as he searches for the treasure left behind by the greatest pirate of all time. This game was made very early in the series run, and across its 14 levels, it plays out the story from the first chapter to almost, but not quite, the end of the Red Ribbon Army storyline. Not that you're likely to find out how it ends abruptly, since this game is almost impossible to play. There's a lot more luck than skill involved in your ability to get through it. The first thing you'll notice when playing is just how many cutscenes there are. Dragon Ball seems to have more dialogue scenes than the adventure games. These days they look really goofy, but I'm sure they were an enormous selling point at the time. Kids would see them and go, "I remember this bit." If you don't care, you can skip the cutscene by hitting select. Most of the game is played from a top-down view. You'll start out being able to just punch enemies, but with the right power-ups you can get yourself a staff. You can also jump in that top-down view, though I didn't find it to be particularly useful. The big challenge in Dragon Ball is that your life counter is constantly going down. It starts at 100 and ticks down every couple of seconds. Of course, it'll go down when you're hit by an enemy attack, or get bumped into by an enemy, and there's no invulnerability frame, so enemies can bump into you forever. That becomes a real problem in these narrow spaces where you can't hit them, but they're constantly hitting you. The maximum life counter is 150. Getting meat will increase that counter by 20 points, and a pastry will increase it by 100. Now you might think that since your life meter is constantly going down, that health pickups would be pretty common. Well, you're wrong. Any item you pick up is placed in one of these capsules that you have to break open, and the contents of the capsules is always random. Health up items just don't occur that commonly. The best thing you can do is get lots of capsules. Capsules are dropped by enemies you defeat, but you're more likely to encounter them in these secret rooms. On some stages there's doors, but for a lot of those rooms you have to walk into the right spot. Capsules can contain food, this black staff that gives you a longer reach on your attack, a red staff which will let you do a spin attack for a short time. In rooms where there's this swirling group, one of the capsules can contain a cloud that will carry you to the end of the stage. Not as helpful as it first seems, since a lot of the stages have extra requirements before you complete them. The turtle shells allow you to fire Kamehamehas by pressing the A and B button at the same time. But you can't do that until you're taught how to at the end of level 4. And there are also these panties that make you run faster, but it also makes your life bar go down faster too. The panties bring me to some of the more infamous things about Dragon Ball. The end of the first stage includes one of the most distasteful things in the series, as the old turtle hermit demands to see a 15-year-old girl's underwear. Admittedly, not as bad as the television show where he demands she gets naked. In the US, the game was released as Dragon Power, since nobody in the US knew what Dragon Ball was at the time. And they flipped the panties sprite upside down and called them sandwiches. They also gave Goku a haircut for the US version. Sometimes when you enter a room, you'll go into a side view. A lot of these are one-on-one fights against a boss, and to be honest, I haven't figured out a better strategy than flail wildly and swing at them constantly. Their attacks are kind of vaguely defined. A word of warning: if you have the staff, don't stand too close to them because you just won't be able to hit them. The hitboxes on both yours and their attacks are terrible. The other type of side view room has you looking for an item among breakable objects. You can smash things by hitting them, jumping on them, or jumping into them. Stage 1 has you meet Bulma and have to go off to find Master Roshi. The only trick with it is that you have to hit this rock for no good reason, because it turns out it's a turtle blocking your path. The second stage has a bunch of farmers being terrorized by a shape-shifting pig. You have to enter buildings and hit all the dummies until you find them. Eventually the pig will drop a key, and that will let you enter the final area. The third stage has you deal with the desert bandit Yamcha. And again, it involves searching through a lot of rooms for items. And that's as far as I got this time. While the game will let you continue, continuing after the 7th stage brings you back to the start of the 7th stage. And as noted, getting through a level requires a bit of luck. I know it's possible to learn the game well enough to mitigate some of that, but why would I inflict that on myself? Dragon Ball isn't a game that encourages you to go back and try again. When you game over, it feels like it's because the game is bad, rather than because you aren't good enough. This is one that I hope to never have to play again. Naturally, this is not the end of Dragon Ball on the Famicom. There are 6 more games in the series, plus 2 crossover games. The rest of them use completely different mechanics. They're still not good, but they're better than this.